Good morning, this is Kramer's Corner with the daily technical update. It is Tuesday the 18th of July. Market in US climbed a little bit higher yesterday night. We are very close to the resistance at 45, 46, but there's still room up to a 4600 level. We can see here on the daily RSI, it is very close to test the previous high on the RSI. If it closes above this dashed line, then it has cancelled the divergence, and then there's room to much higher levels, but let's see about that. More or less the same picture on Nasdaq. However, Nasdaq doesn't really have any resistance until the previous all-time highs here at 16,765, really fast approaching 16,000, climbing high yesterday, and it was primarily led by Tesla. And we could have a very quick look at Tesla and some of the other stocks there. But Tesla is due for earnings Wednesday, so there's probably a lot of stuff to talk about. More than 3% higher yesterday, climbing higher towards the 333 level. Check out my latest update, technical update on Tesla, where I dig a little bit deeper on that one. Nvidia just moving higher, really strong there, closed higher yesterday. Also Apple higher. So really strong on the tech front, to say the least. In the European equity markets, still a more muted response to everything. DAX is still struggling for upside momentum. We are above the cloud, but RSI is still in bearish sentiment. It needs to break above 60, and DAX needs to break above 16,210. AEX also a little bit got rejected there at 781. Look out for that one. The Belgium main index was quite interesting. Got rejected at the 100 moving average and the upper part of the cloud. But the RSI still is above 60, so we are in a positive sentiment, but I would like to see it close above 3,700. If it does that, well, then there is much more upside potential to 3850, 3900 on the Belgian market. CAC fairly boring, still caught in this range here. Not really much to say about that. On the commodities space, it's quite interesting what's going on. Well, let's have a look at the gold. Testing the 1963 again, just spiked just a little bit above here, and it seems fairly strong. But if we slide back below the 1945, we could see a correction down to around 1925, 1930. That is actually what I had expected. A little bit of a setback after the first rejection here, but let's see. Something could be happening here today and tomorrow, so that could be fairly decisive. The overall trend, overall picture is that it has bounced from the 1900 and seems to resume uptrend. But I would like to see it break above and close above 1930. 1963. If it does, then there's next level is around 2000 and the other part of the cloud. Silver taking a little bit of a breather. We could see a little bit of setback down to 2450, but it is in an uptrend. It is in positive sentiment, and there's room up to around 2650, around that level where we have some strong resistance. Copper looked promising a couple of days ago, but ran out of steam just below the previous peak here, very short term at 396. Now back below 382 as we speak. If it does that, well, I wouldn't be surprised to see copper being range bound between those two lines here, around 370 and just below 400 for some time before we can actually get any direction out of it. So, but keep an eye on it suddenly, because something could be happening. I mean, we have the 100 moving average dropping, but we have the 200 rising, and the 55 a little bit indecisive. So really a frustrating time for copper traders, really volatile. On the energy side, We have Brent crude that ran out of steam just below the 200 moving average. I did expect it to test the 83 before correction. Now it's trading around the previous resistance, now support, and the 100 moving average just around 78 level. The RSI is still positive, so I do believe we will see Brent oil picking up uptrend again. We can also have the 55 moving average slowly turning around, rising here, and we have the 21. So we could maybe see a little bit dip lower. What we could do very quickly, we could add some little bit of retracement level. Have a look at what we could be doing here. It seems like maybe around the 38.2 bounce, but we could see a dip down to the 61.8 around 75.45, but I don't think it will happen. But let's see the next couple of days. On the WTI front, more or less the same picture. It got rejected at 200, didn't reach the 79. I still think it's possible, also since we have the RSI being bullish, the underlying moving averages are turning around, so there's a little bit of support still above the cloud here. I think we'll pick up slowly again. On the FX side, not really much news. We had the euro dollar reaching 138.2, projection of the correction here, testing 127.70 level. Oh, sorry, 112.70 level. I think we will see a little bit of a correction, possibly down to 111 before next move up. If we are in an uptrend on both daily and weekly. There's no divergence on RSI on the daily, so it seems fairly strong upwards move. I sent out an analysis yesterday on euro sterling that could be developing some interesting pattern here, a possible double bottom. It will only be confirmed if it closes above 86.60, around that level here. If it does, well, then there's room up to 88.20, where there's some resistance, and that will also be the 200% of the double bottom pattern. But it's not yet confirmed, but keep an eye on it. Very interesting possible development there. However, on the weekly, which is quite interesting, it looks fairly heavy though. But let's see what's unfolding. Cable. Little bit of jittering around, hovering around the 130.31 level. I think we will see a little bit of correction, but the trend is up on all fronts, on daily and weekly, so we should move higher. There's no divergence on either, so quite interesting move there. Dollar yen can't really bounce higher. It's really struggling here. Maybe we should have another dip lower on dollar yen. That's going to be interesting. There just should be a rebound room up to around 140, but it's really struggling. And if it starts taking out 137.85 and especially the low here at 137.20, well, then we could see a dip down to 135.5, which is the 61.8 retracement. That would be an exhaustive move, I believe, but keep an eye on this level. We could also be range bound here, so it's a little bit frustrating at the moment. We have the 200 and 100 moving average adding some support. The other yen pairs, the other yen pairs, they are still testing the rising trend line, and it seems like maybe we should have a dip down, possibly to 177, 178, but it's not unlikely to 174. Maybe we'll drag the dollar yen with it, and more or less the same picture on euro yen. You can see here it got rejected at a 61.8 retracement, just around 156.20, and if we can't really break above that, well, then there's maybe there's a possibility we could dip down to around 152.20, which is the 61.8 retracement. On the Scandis, we have EURNOKI trying to move back up to the neckline here on this shoulder pattern. Not really, seems not convincing, and I think it will be rejected now. We have this RSI being rejected at a 40 level, so we should see another selling pressure. Whereas your stock seems a little bit more sideways range here at the moment, but I do think we will see another push lower to test the lower rising trend line there and the 1133 around that support level there. All right, that's all for today. Thank you very much for listening. Talk to you again tomorrow.